Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us from across the globe, wherever you are. It's great to have you with us today for this Life AR webinar on strengthening country capabilities for climate change adaptation and resilience. My name is Chantal Cummings, and I am the Global Gender Equality and Social Inclusion Advisor for Life AR Interim Secretariat. And I'm just going to go through some brief housekeeping notes before we begin. So the webinar will be in English only, and we hope to have some future webinars in French with our French-speaking countries. But for accessibility, you can use the subtitle options on YouTube. And for translations, you can also use the subtitle options with automatically translated captions on YouTube for other languages. And if we go to the next slide, you will see where that is. So there's a little cog, a settings cog at the bottom of the screen. And then you can click on subtitles, and then you can choose your language there. So that's how to do that. And we are being live streamed on YouTube and LinkedIn. So please note if you are putting questions into the chat or or if any comments are read out, they will be live. And we encourage you throughout this webinar to please comment and add your questions for the panelists using the comments function on YouTube and LinkedIn. And you can also use the like button to vote up your questions. So without further ado, I will hand over to introduce the panel. I'm excited that we're running this event as part of London Climate Action Week, and we wanted to bring voices from the different countries that Life AR is working in. And we have representatives today from Malawi, from Uganda and Ethiopia. These are 3 of the 6 pilot front-runner countries who have been testing solutions for climate change adaptation as part of the Life AR initiative, which is an LDC-led initiative. So we have Bayu Nesbu from IID Ethiopia, Country Support for Ethiopia, Harriet Kiyomuhendo, who's the Life AR Deputy Focal Point for Uganda, and Jennifer Makandawere, who is the Life AR GESI focal point for Malawi, and also the chair of WANACAM, the Women's Network on Climate Action for Malawi. So I will briefly hand over to them to introduce, and then we'll come back to my colleague who's also on the line, Bethany Donathorne, for some brief opening remarks. So can I hand over, Jennifer, to you to introduce, please? Jennifer, we cannot hear you. Are you able to say a few words of introduction?
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you. You can say a few words of introduction, please. Hello. Okay, I think we have a few challenges with Jennifer with the connectivity. So, Bayu, would you like to come in?
Okay, Chantili. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bayu Nabsu. I'm a Kanti Sapo for Life Air Ethiopia. I'm a climate change adaptation related expert. I'm working in a different area related to the climate change sector, like vulnerability assessment, resilience measurement, and in another direction also geospatial analysis and JHG mission calculator experience. So currently I'm working with Ethiopia Life Year as a country support, just support them in implementing the Life Year principle and the created delivery mechanism at a country level. So backstopping for them to support in implementation of Life Year in Ethiopia. Thank you.
Thank you, Bayu. So, Jennifer, we can try you again. Are you able to introduce yourself? Okay, I think we have lost Jennifer, and I think we have also lost Harriet. So we will continue with the introductions, and then hopefully they will be able to reconnect. So we're also joined by my colleague Bethany Donathorne, who is the head of learning and knowledge management for the Life AR Interim Secretariat, and I will be handing over to Bethany in a moment. And the format for today is that we will have some panel discussions. We will start off with some brief questions, and then we will open up for the floor for questions and answers. We may have another round of questions and then close, and Bethany will be doing the opening and closing remarks. And in terms of what we are doing today, we are really looking at strengthening capabilities in climate change adaptation. Life AR has in it 5 key offers and 5 key asks of the LDC community. The asks are what the LDC countries are asking development partners, including donors and philanthropists, to do. And the offers are what the LDC countries are bringing to the table. So we have these 5 offers, and one of these key offers is capabilities, which Bethany will speak more on in a moment. And of these key outcomes, one of the key areas is around ensuring that climate finance reaches local communities at the local level, so that we have locally led adaptation, and so that communities can manage their own funds from start to finish. So this webinar will be exploring some of the practical ways in which that's happening to achieve Life AR's ultimate goals of more resilient people, economies, and ecosystems. So I'll now hand over to Bethany to give a brief introduction to herself and some opening remarks, and then we'll follow on with the panel discussion. Over to you, Bethany.
Thank you so much, Chantal, and thanks to everybody for being here today as part of London Climate Action Week. As Chantal said, I work with her at the Interim Secretariat of Life AR, which is hosted at IIED in London, and I lead on learning and knowledge management. I'm really pleased to welcome you to this session where we're going to explore a critical area of climate action, which is strengthening capabilities. Our discussion today is grounded in Life AR's experience. It's an LDC-owned, LDC-led initiative working with countries to realize the LDC's vision 2050 for climate resilience. One of Life AR's key principles is that lasting climate resilience is not only dependent on finance alone, but on the capabilities of countries, institutions, and communities to lead, manage, and sustain adaptation efforts over time. So what does the LDC's capabilities offer? 10 countries are currently participating in Life AR, 3 of whom you're going to hear from today. The participating countries have collectively committed to a set of LDC offers, as Chantal mentioned. Under the capabilities offer, countries offer to strengthen their climate capabilities, institutions, knowledge, their skills, and their learning, while asking development partners in return to work with them in the long term to strengthen LDC's national and local institutional capabilities. So this offer recognizes that investing in strengthening capabilities upfront is essential, not just for delivering immediate results, but for building long-term, cost-efficient and locally owned climate finance systems. This marks a shift from traditional or business as usual approaches. Rather than prioritizing rapid disbursement or externally driven delivery, LifeAR promotes what we call a business unusual approach, where countries take the time to build systems, knowledge, and the skills they need before scaling investments. So what are the objectives of the offer? It aims to strengthen climate knowledge and expertise within LDCs through investment in training, education, and research. It supports learning and knowledge exchange, both within and across countries. It integrates technical and indigenous knowledge into planning and decision-making, and it builds institutions and systems that can plan, manage, and deliver climate finance effectively. And most importantly, it elevates LDC voices globally, enabling countries to share their experience and shape international adaptation efforts. So together, these objectives move us beyond capacity building as a one-off activity towards something more sustainable, capabilities as an ongoing embedded feature of how adaptation systems function. So how do we strengthen capabilities through LifeAR? We do it through three approaches. First, we strengthen simultaneously at all three levels, from globally, where countries collaborate, exchange knowledge, and contribute to international learning, in events such as these, positioning LDCs as centers of excellence and expertise. Nationally, governments, academia, and civil society strengthen institutional capacity, identify gaps, and retain knowledge within country systems, as we'll hear from Ethiopia, Malawi, and Uganda today. And locally, communities are actively engaged in decision-making, identifying local climate risks and their adaptation investment priorities, and participating in implementation, monitoring, and learning. So this multi-level approach helps ensure that systems are not only technically sound, but are also inclusive, grounded, and sustainable. Our second approach is learning by doing, or experiential learning. Learning is a core function of LifeAR. It's not a one-off activity, but a continuous and intentional process embedded through implementation in countries. Countries integrate critical reflection and learning into implementation through, for example, their MEL systems, so monitoring, evaluation, and learning with a critical L in learning. They engage in peer-to-peer exchanges and communities of practice at national, local, and international levels. And they have regular reflection sessions and iterative planning that helps with adaptive management. So this emphasis on learning creates a virtuous learning cycle where implementation strengthens capability and capability improves implementation over time. Our third and final defining feature of LifeAR's approach to strengthening capabilities is its commitment to country ownership. It's LDC owned and LDC led. We recently completed a participatory study with the countries of the lessons learned from the establishment phase of LifeAR, where countries deliberately allowed time to build consensus, strengthen institutions, and design delivery mechanisms that reflect national and local realities. In this study, we found that ownership takes time. Strong systems cannot be rushed, and long-term effectiveness depends on who leads the process. So by relying on national and local actors, including government staff, civil society, and academia, rather than external consultants, countries are strengthening their own systems while delivering results and retaining the knowledge and learning within countries. So what have our achievements so far been in practice? We'll hear in more detail from the countries themselves, but across LifeAR countries, we are already seeing tangible outcomes. For example, stronger national systems and expertise. Countries have conducted capacity needs assessment, developed tailored training programs, strengthened expertise in areas like climate planning, financial management, and MEL. They have institutionalized learning and communities of practice. LifeAR has supported the emergence of COPs and peer learning mechanisms across countries. In addition, we are also seeing training of trainers programs that cascade knowledge across the pilot districts, peer learning visits between countries facilitated by the interim secretariat where I work, and thematic working groups on MEL, GESI, and locally led adaptation, which share learning within and between countries and internationally. So these structures ensure that learning is retained, shared, and is continuously refined. A third example of our achievements so far is enhanced collaboration and global leadership. So countries are not only learning internally, they are also contributing outwardly. Through platforms such as UNFCCC, COPs, and global learning events, LifeAR countries are sharing their evidence and experience, influencing global discussions on locally led adaptation, and they're demonstrating what effective country-led climate finance systems can look like. This is helping to shift the narrative from LDCs as recipients of support to leaders in adaptation practice and innovation. And finally, we are seeing evidence of long-term value. Perhaps most importantly, we're seeing that our experience shows that investing in capabilities pays off. While this approach requires more time and more upfront effort, countries report that it is reducing long-term reliance on external consultants. It's building a sustainable cadre of national practitioners. It's strengthening institutions that can manage future climate challenges independently. And it's ultimately laying the groundwork to enable the scaling of locally owned climate finance systems over time. So, as we begin today's discussion, I'd like to leave you with a few questions that we'll be exploring with our panelists. How do whole of society national platforms support strengthening capabilities and learning at national and local levels? What are effective ways to strengthen capabilities to ensure that communities can truly participate in selecting their climate resilience investments? And how can integrating GESI principles early on support strengthening capabilities at national and community levels? Our experience at LifeAR offers valuable insights and practical lessons on these questions. And I hope that in today's conversation, we can explore not only what has worked, but what it means to embed strengthening capability at the heart of climate adaptation efforts. Thank you, and I look forward to the rest of our discussion today.
Thank you very much for those introductory remarks, Bethany. And I think also the fact that LifeAR is really focused on the foundation strengthening. So it's not just about one-offs. This is about really developing long-term solutions that last way beyond LifeAR. And I'm sure you will hear of that today in our discussions. So I'm going to hand over now to the panelists. I'm going to give 5 minutes for each panelist and ask a question to each panelist to kickstart the discussions. For Jennifer and Harriet, who weren't able to introduce, perhaps when you come in, you can also introduce yourselves before you begin.
Hello.
So Harriet, hello.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello. Hello. Hello, Chantel. Hello, Bethany, and our viewers on the platform. I'm very excited to be part of this conversation. My name is Harriet Chomhendo from Uganda. I work with the Ministry of Water and Environment as a policy analyst, and on the LifeAR program, and I'm the alternate national focal point. And I also am a team leader for one of the local governments, which is a pilot district for the LifeAR program. I'm happy to be part of this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Harriet. Jennifer, are you also there now?
Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes. Would you like to just say a quick introduction?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jennifer Mkandawire. I'm from Malawi. I'm the chairperson for, but also an alternate point for GESI in LifeAR. Yeah, I'm happy to be here to talk to you about how strengthening capacities at community and district level has enhanced climate planning at all levels. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And we're going to kickstart the conversation with yourself. So I'm going to dive right in with the first question and give you 5 minutes to respond. So the question to you, Jennifer, is a whole of society approach is embedded in Life AR, and gender equality and social inclusion principles are key to include as many voices as possible in decision making at the local level. From your experience in Malawi, could you illustrate how the integration of GESI into design and implementation can support strengthening capabilities at the national, district, and community levels? So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chantel. I'm very happy to talk about this, that from our experience in Malawi, integrating gender equality and social inclusion into the design and implementation of climate adaptation programs such as Life AR strengthens the capacity of district and community level frontliners, especially that we are working with different departments at the different levels, that's community as well as at the district level. This ensures that all groups, particularly women, youth, persons with disabilities, older persons, and marginalized populations, are actively involved in identifying risks, planning solutions, as well as implementing adaptation actions. So at district level, GESI integration strengthens institutions' capacity by equipping district councils, sector departments, and area development committees with skills and tools needed to conduct inclusive vulnerability assessment, gender responsive planning, and equitable resource allocation. When district officials understand how to integrate GESI in their planning, they'll be able to impact different social groups. They are also better able to design interventions that respond to the specific needs of communities. This improves the quality of district development plans, climate change adaptation plans, while also enhancing accountability and responsiveness at district level. In terms of community, at community level, GESI promotes meaningful participation and leadership among groups that are often excluded from the decision making. For example, through the work of community structures and our network as WONICAM, women have been supported to participate in village development committees, area development committees, as well as local climate action groups. Their involvement brings valuable knowledge on water management, food security, natural resource management, and including household resilience, leading to more adaptation solutions. So, GESI integration in general has also strengthened capacities through leadership development. That's the local leadership at local level, building the confidence and skills of women, youth, and persons with disabilities to participate in governance and climate decision-making processes. So they are not left out. Whenever their skills have been built, they are able to confidently talk about issues that affect them, and they even participate in decision-making processes. Access to information and resources, what we have done is that this capacity building has ensured climate information, training opportunities, technologies, and financial resources reach most of members in the society, including those who are traditionally or most of the times excluded or marginalized. It has also enhanced social cohesion, that's inclusive planning processes foster trust, ownership, and collective action, which are essential for long-term resilience. It has also improved monitoring and learning. Whenever we are collecting data, when we are participating in the Life AR initiative, we are able to disaggregate in terms of sex, age, disability, and this helps data that has been gender disaggregated, and also local institutions understand who benefits from those interventions, and they also adjust the programs accordingly just because of this capacity building initiatives. Yeah, so Practically in Malawi, an example could be an inclusion of women-led groups in climate resilience and livelihood initiatives. So whenever there are interventions on climate action, most of the groups have adopted the climate smart agriculture and natural resource conservation and income generating activities that will benefit more women and those that are mostly excluded. So this not only strengthens household resilience, but it also builds local leadership and decision-making capacity. Yeah, in a nutshell, embedding GESI within Life AR as a whole of society approach enables district and community institutions to become more inclusive, responsive, and effective. It also strengthens capabilities by ensuring that diverse voices contribute to decision making, resulting in adaptation actions that are locally owned and are equitable, and at the end of the day are sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for your insights into Malawi, and really interesting to hear how you are really supporting the strengthening of capabilities, not just at the district level, but also with communities, and particularly with specific groups within communities that may not usually be included. And thank you also for sticking to your 5 minutes. So I'm going to move on to Bayu now, and then we'll circle back. So Bayu in Ethiopia, thank you ever so much again for being here. And my question to you today is, in Ethiopia, the national platform comprises of representatives from several ministries, academia, local government, and donor agencies. How does this setup support capacity building and learning at the national and local level?
Thank you, Chante. Yeah, maybe to begin from what structure we have as Ethiopia in life year, there is a diverse structures and groups that support Ethiopian life year.
Hello, Bayu. I think we have lost you. Can you hear us? Okay, I think we may have lost Bayu, so I'm going to come back to Bayu when he is back. And in the meantime, perhaps we can move on to Harriet. So Harriet, my question to you from Uganda is, in Life AR in Uganda, communities are in the driving seat in terms of selecting of the investments. However, countries have recognized early on that sometimes understanding of climate change and its long-term impacts at community level was insufficient. What have you put in place in Uganda to ensure communities meaningfully participate and select adequate adaptation investments? And are there any follow-up activities and capabilities strengthening at community level so the investments have a longer-term impact? So over to you, Harriet, with your 5 minutes.
In order for them to participate in meaningful selection of their investments, to
Head and oversee and guidance for Warada technical team. And
sorry, Bayu. Hello, Bayu.
Hello?
Bayu, we lost you, so we have just gone to Harriet, and we will come back round to you in a moment because the connection dropped. So Harriet is now speaking,
Can
and
you
then we
hear
will
me now?
come. Yeah, we can hear you now,
Can
but
you
we
hear?
will come back to you after.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Harriet, please continue.
Okay. Sorry about that. So yes, it's true that the communities have had insufficient knowledge on climate change, but under the Life Fair program, we've been able to build their capacities, and I'm yet to share with you how we've done this. On the onset, we had a trainer of trainers for the program, and these were from the pilot districts. Chantel, can you hear me?
I can hear you well. If anybody is not on mute, please can you put on mute, and so we can hear Harriet clearly. Thank you.
So we had trainers of trainers, and these trainers of trainers were got from the districts, the pilot districts, because Life Fair could not be implemented in all the districts in Uganda. We had 12 pilot districts. So we got trainers of trainers in these districts, and these trainers of trainers were able to cascade the knowledge on climate change, on climate science. And this knowledge was passed on up to the community level. We are all aware that communities have their indigenous knowledge, but they also needed this complementarity to get knowledge on climate science. So as a program, we've been able to build their capacity in that area. And with that knowledge, they were able to choose their investments using this knowledge. In addition, we selected what we call parish climate change committees. And these parish climate change committees are part of the communities. And the composition of these committees is inclusive. We have women, we have youth, we have people with disabilities, we have leaders from the, we have religious leaders. So we trained these parish climate change committees, who in turn would go back to their individual communities and also pass on the knowledge. And these were very key in choosing the investments at that level. And then when it also came to procurement for implementing some of these investments, these climate change committee members were part of these of the exercise of procurement and evaluations. So this was also very key, because we were able to build their capacities in terms of evaluation, in terms of looking at projects and knowing that this is for this this community, and also to go back to their communities and explain to them what was taking place in terms of procurement and evaluation. In addition, we have what we call the monitoring and evaluation officers at district level. These were trained from the national level. At the national level, we have what we call a thematic working group for monitoring and evaluation. These focal point officers were trained on how to collect data, on how to interpret these data collection tools, on how they can get gender disaggregated data. And they were also able to train the communities on what kind of data that is needed. Then also were able to train the PCC members, the parish committee members, on how to report. What kind of data can they collect from the communities? And then on sustainability, we have continuously had capacity building activities, both at district level and parish level, but also barazas in each of these districts, where we call the community members and we talk about the implementation of the different investments. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Harriet, and fantastic to hear all about how you have been strengthening the parish climate change committees, with some business unusual approaches, including getting them involved in procurements where they haven't been before, and evaluations, and also ensuring that the communities have access to that climate science, as in the science of one way, but also marrying it to the indigenous knowledge that they have, and building that sharing and learning across the two different areas there. So thank you very much for that. I'm now going to circle back to Bayou to see if we can connect with Bayou. So Bayou, can you hear us? And can we hear you, more importantly? Hello, Bayou, can you hear us? Okay. So while we're waiting to see, I hope Bayou can connect back in, but perhaps we can circle back to Jennifer. And Jennifer, you mentioned, yes. We have Bayou. Bayou, can you hear us now? Okay, Bayou, we still can't hear you, so I'm going to circle back to Jennifer. And Jennifer, you mentioned a lot of what was happening, but I wondered if you could tell us more about your role as a civil society organization in Life AR and the expertise your organization brings, and how you're working alongside the government. Because in Life AR, for those who don't know, we have a whole of society approach, which means that we're working with both government, academia, business, and civil society. And we have gender focal points in government, but also gender focal points in civil society. So would you be able to tell us a little bit more about how you are working with government, and then perhaps also how you are helping the women and girls in the communities you're working with to build their capabilities to find some solutions?
Thank you very much, Chantel. Yeah, as I said on my introduction, that we provide GESI guidance, technical guidance to the Life AR as WONECAM, because our network primarily focuses on women and girls. So our interaction with government is that we are able to provide that kind to ensure that GESI is included or is integrated at all levels. So WONECAM supports government officers in understanding and applying GESI principles throughout planning, implementation, monitoring processes. So this helps us ensure that climate adaptation interventions address the needs of all community members and that no one is left behind. By the way, WONECAM is a network of at national level. It also works with the community level networks that belong to different networks, but work on climate related interventions. Engagement skills to the community leadership, especially for women, which provides or strengthens its knowledge of government systems and development planning processes. We also build leadership among women and marginalized groups. So WONECAM works with government structures to identify, mentor, and support women leaders to participate effectively in local governance as well as climate decision-making forums. So this contributes to a stronger and more representative community institutions at the local level. Yeah, so we also facilitate knowledge sharing that's between and amongst ourselves as well as government officials on climate adaptation, disaster risk management, agriculture, and natural resource management. While WONECAM shares practical lessons from the community, we directly work with the grassroots women who are into agribusiness, into smart agriculture. So those practical lessons are shared to our colleagues in government, and we also share the transformative approaches that we use so that there is total GESI. I mean, there is total integration of GESI in all the planning and implementation. So,
Thank you.
oh,
Thank you,
Pastor.
Jennifer. I will stop you there for a moment. But yes, it's
All
fantastic
right.
that you are also building those leadership capabilities and the network approach you have of being able to reach many more women through the different networks. And I understand you're also operating at a regional level as well. So you're looking at all the regions across Malawi. And it's great to hear of your the role of WANACAM as the CSO in supporting that knowledge sharing, so that capability strengthening through the knowledge sharing piece that you can do collectively as WANACAM, and then feeding back to communities, feeding back to government. So thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, so I'm going to move now back to Bayu if we're just third time lucky and see if Bayu can connect, and then I'll move back to you, Harriet. So Bayu, if you are there, we would really love to hear from you if you can come in. And if not, we'll have to find another way for you to be able to share all your learnings. So let's see, Bayu, if we can connect to you. Okay, I'm going to, in that case, circle back to Harriet. So Harriet, we have another question for you. And the question is, in Uganda, Uganda is the first of the Life AR countries to have implemented a successful community of practice. So what approach did you take, and what partners are you working with, and what are your plans for moving forward? So if you would like to address that, and then we'll come to the questions from the audience. Thank you, Harriet.
Chantel.
Yes.
I lost
Can
you
you
a
hear
bit.
us?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Great. I'll repeat the question.
Yes,
Uganda is the first of the Life AR countries to have implemented a successful community of practice. What approach did you take, and what partners are you working with, and what are your plans moving forward?
Thank you, Chantel. Yes, it's true that Uganda is implementing the community of practice, and this was launched in March 2026 during the Water and Environment Week, which is a forum that brings very many stakeholders across the world, both physically and virtually. So the community of practice was launched then. And in Uganda, the community of practice has even been mainstreamed within the national programs. Climate change department in the Ministry of Water and Environment is spearheading all the activities for our community of practice. And during the launch of the community of practice, we were able to bring all our stakeholders from the different pilot districts to come together, share knowledge, share experiences from the different districts. And we see that this was a very good platform for learning. And then we have also been having webinars every quarter, looking at different topical issues like climate finance, local-led adaptation, stakeholder engagement, and all these have been learning platforms for the different categories of all the people who are engaged in implementing the Life AR program. And in future, we see that we are going to have many more engagements. We also had an exchange country to country where we got our district local government officials to go to Malawi, and they shared their experiences with the district officials from Malawi. We saw that there was across like the information that was shared. Our local government people here, we see that the information they got was very beneficial to them. And also the information we got on how they are implementing their PIU, that is the Program Implementation Unit. It's one of the things that we are going to take forward as Uganda. And in future, we are looking at more of these exchange visits. We are looking at exchange visits between districts within Uganda. We are also looking at more webinars, looking at different topical issues. So for us as Uganda, community of practice, it came at the right time, and we are still taking it on as a way of sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, and sustaining what has been started under the Life AR program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harriet. And it's interesting to hear that you are doing these experiences both online, but also in face-to-face as well, and that you're bringing communities together. And I also understand you're bringing together, the national level with the district level to share that knowledge and to share that learning so that it can feed back into the programs, which is fantastic. So thank you very much for sharing that. So we're coming into the last 10-15 minutes of the webinar. I'm going to just try by you one last time, just in case we have some amazing internet capability that appears so that Bayu can come in. Otherwise, we welcome any questions. So please do post your questions into the comments on YouTube or LinkedIn so that we can ask the panel more questions. And if there are no questions, then I will come back to the panel. So Bayu, if you can hear and if you can speak, the floor is yours. No, I don't think he can hear. So it's a shame, but we will be running more of these sessions where you can hear about other countries and also what Ethiopia has been doing. Perhaps I can say briefly that one of the key ways that Ethiopia has been strengthening is by aligning the national climate action and development plans to the local level, to the Wareda level. So they have done a lot to sensitize at the local level, at the Wareda level, to make sure that they understand the plans and the priorities and that they can also feed into it as well. So this is something really great that Ethiopia has done, and some great innovations with regards to procurement and with regards to bringing together technical teams, including gender focal points and monitoring evaluation focal points, who were working together to go and give trainings to communities to help them with the collection of sex and gender disaggregated data, and to ensure that communities are understanding their plans and being able to implement and prioritize. So we're very sorry that Bayu could not connect, but please do go online to our website and read more about what Ethiopia has been doing there. So I'm just going to circle back around if there are no more questions. and I will ask the panelists. We do have Harriet and Jennifer. If you have any final comments or any things that you really want to share that you did not have the opportunity to share before, maybe take 2 or 3 minutes each, and then I will come back to Bethany for closing remarks. So Jennifer, would you like to come in if you have any final comments or key takeaways from today that you would like to share?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, just to appreciate the opportunity that I should participate in this webinar. But the key, maybe I could talk about the key takeaways. That capacity strengthening is a continuous process. So capacity building should not be limited to training only. It should also include mentoring, learning by doing, knowledge sharing, and strengthening institutions and systems. So collaboration between government and civil society is also very essential. We should value it because there is knowledge exchange between civil society and the government. And I would want to encourage that government should really work with the civil society organizations like WONICAM and other uh, like-minded organizations. So it's very important that we partner and help bridge policy and practice by connecting national priorities with community needs. It is also important that we work with women as key agents of change, because if women are recognized, they will not just be onlookers, but they'll be the doers. They'll be able to participate effectively. They'll also be able to bring in their innovations in adaptation and resilience building efforts. So investing in women's leadership improves community resilience and development outcomes. So there is need to invest in that, in the capacity building of local institutions, so that whatever initiatives you're bringing are sustained, especially the district councils, the area development committees, village development committees, and community structures, which require these skills and resources in order for them to lead the adaptation efforts effectively. So there is need to have long-term investment in local systems for lasting impact on climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. So I'm hearing collaboration between government and CSOs, very important. The mentoring and learning, that's often, I think, often forgotten, but making sure there's time and space for that mentoring and learning, and to build the capacities of women, but also of local institutions at the district and community levels. Thank you for those thoughts. So I'll now turn to Harriet.
Can I add two more? Can I add two more?
Please
I forgot
be
about funding.
very concise, and you can add, and then we'll hand over to Harriet. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I wanted to say there's also need to have an adaptation funding that should be accessible to local institutions and communities. That's having simplified and inclusive financing mechanisms that can empower local stakeholders to implement solutions that address their priorities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, and a fantastic point you raised there, which is what Life AR is also all about, getting that finance to where it really needs to go, so that those changes can be made and adaptation can be implemented in inclusive and equitable ways. Thank you for that. So over to Harriet, if you have any final comments or reflections on capability strengthening.
Yeah, thank you, Chantel. My key takeaway and my reflection is that there's still need for continual. I got off a bit, but I'm on.
Great, please continue.
Yes. My key takeaway is about continuous engagement with the communities. without the buy-in of the communities, then we'll be wasting time putting in the investments because they will not be sustainable. So how can we do this? We need to hold barazas, we need to hold community engagements, but we also need to build the capacities of the
I think we have lost Harriet, but I think the key point that she was making was about not forgetting about the community engagement and the involvement, and needing to really bring the whole community on board in what we do. So thank you, Harriet, and hopefully you'll come back before the end. So I'm now going to hand over to Bethany, just to give some closing remarks. Over to you, Bethany.
Thank you. Thank you, Chantal. I see Bayu is back online, but I'm not sure if we can hear him. Bayu, do you want to give a final? Then I'll go ahead. Thank you, Chantal. And thank you to all the panelists for sharing their learning on strengthening capabilities. We're very grateful to all your contributions and to the audience today. As we close, I'll reflect on a few of the themes that have emerged from what's been shared. Today's conversation has really highlighted for me that strengthening countries' capabilities for long-term resilience is not a short-term intervention, it's continuous. It has to be intentional, as Jennifer highlighted. It requires sustained investment in institutions, systems, and people, and a commitment to learning and adaptation over the long term. So we heard from Harriet in Uganda and Jennifer in Malawi, how it's critical to move beyond isolated efforts and instead take this whole of society approach, whereby we partner and collaborate to bring together governments, civil society like Wanaka, academia, and communities themselves in a genuinely collaborative way. From national platforms to local communities, it's these connections that allow knowledge sharing, innovation, and strengthening of capabilities at all levels. And we've seen from the countries the mechanisms that allow them to do this and are working in practice on the ground. Another key takeaway for me is that the way in which we strengthen capabilities is critical for future sustainability. So the approaches shared by Malawi, mentoring, Jennifer mentioned, continuous engagement with the communities, Harriet mentioned, the training of trainers model they use in Uganda, the communities of practice, which are just starting, and also enabling monitoring, evaluation, and learning systems at not only national, but also the local levels, involving communities themselves. All of these mechanisms ensure that capabilities can be strengthened, and as a result, the impacts that we're seeing can be sustained over time, that provide the foundation to be scaled, and that they can be continuously improved as a result of this strengthening of capabilities, knowledge, and learning. We've also been reminded today of the importance of embedding inclusion from the outset. Jennifer mentioned the importance of including diverse voices and groups, which often aren't included, to ensure that their knowledge and their resilience efforts and approaches inform the work and make it more resilient, more legitimate, and more effective. And similarly, Harriet shared the efforts they've made in Uganda to ensure right from the beginning that the parish climate change committees are inclusive, and they've focused on strengthening their capacities to select, to procure, as Chantal mentioned, and also to monitor the investments. So overall, it highlights for me that a country's capabilities underlie this climate resilience. It's that combination of learning, knowledge, systems, and relationships that enable countries to implement LLA. So thank you to everyone for your insights, the practical examples that you've shared, and to everyone for joining the session today. And I hope we can continue sharing and discussing this with you and the other countries with Life AR in other fora. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bethany. And thank you to all of our panelists for your time today, including those we weren't able to connect with. We really appreciate your time and commitment to the work of Life AR, but also all of the work that you are doing in your countries around strengthening capabilities. And thank you very much also to the whole audience who came to listen, to learn and to support this today. Please do share what you've heard with others. Please do look at Life AR online and see what has been done. And yes, we welcome you and thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.